Welcome back. Online activists actually, the international manhunt for Luka Magnotta continues. But could the accused killer be disguised as a woman? Toronto Sun columnist Joe Warmington had an exclusive interview with Magnotta back in 2007. Well, Joe joins us now live via Skype from Toronto with the details of that interesting interview. Good morning, Joe.
Brian, you're doing a terrific job. It's a very shocking story, but it's an important one, and it's good the way that the Sun News Network and the whole team is going after this one, because it's going to be really interesting to see how it shakes out, and I think it's going to happen fairly soon.
Well, you were kind of at the beginning of all of this. I guess what people want to know, Joe, is when you were sitting in front of this guy, what did you feel from him? Because obviously there was something there then, but what did you see from him?
Well, I thought he was somebody that was in bad need of mental health intervention. I thought, he was a narcotics user, kind of a wingnut. I didn't dislike him. I felt sorry for him. I think that might be one of his charms, Brian, that he uses. He didn't have a great personality, very monotone, hardly blinked, that kind of thing. He had a story for everything, and a lot of feeling sorry for himself stuff. And in retrospect, we did try to get him some help. I phoned his agent at the time and suggested that he needed some help, but I didn't ever foresee something like this.
Joe, just so we can remind our viewers of what precipitated you having an interview with this man, can you tell us what led to your contact with him?
I was listening to the radio the night before, Brian, and he actually phoned in on a radio show, and just a caller in talking about it. His name was Luka Magnotta, and his life was ruined because of the Karl Homolka people having rumors, spreading rumors that he was involved with her. And I thought, at the time, that he was maybe a boyfriend of hers, and of course she just got out of prison, and that would have been a big story for us. So I tracked him down through the internet, and then he wanted to do the interview, but he wanted us to come to him, and I didn't feel comfortable, so I had him come into the Sun building. And a lot of people have come up to me this week and remember him sitting there when we interviewed him in what was the cafeteria in those days, and they thought he looked like Paul Bernardo or Billy Idol. I asked him about the Paul Bernardo connection, and he kind of had this shy or sort of grin or smirk, if you will, but
well, you have to wonder there, Joe, if that type of association didn't appeal to his, desire for notoriety or fame, as
there's no question about it that we believe that everything about him on the internet, all the Facebook pages, all the aliases, the multiple personalities, everything is created about himself. He created it, for himself. So he'll put up something about Luka Magnotta and then have somebody else commenting on it. So he's commenting and talking back and forth to himself, creating this myth. The thing is that it got stepped up in the last year with the kittens business, and there's a lot of people that were fighting to find him. The London Sun, our colleagues over there, did a terrific job of tracking him down, interviewing him at that stage, and they contacted Scotland Yard, Brian. Very clearly he'd crossed over the lines. In our case, he was talking about things that were bizarre. I just didn't know what to make of him. I thought he needed help. And I talked to his mom last night. She hung up the phone. I can't understand why they're not more out front trying to help police and the media and the social media track this guy down and get him into a hospital and fast before someone else gets hurt.
Well, they've certainly gone to ground with all the fame and notoriety that this individual has drawn to himself due to the alleged nature of the crime. But here's the thing, Joe. When you, this is going back 5 years now, 2007, and I know you cover a lot of stories. You're on top of a lot of things. But when something like this happens, and you're sitting there and you're looking back now, do you ever think, whatever happened to this guy? If I'd just gotten hold of him, or if I'd followed up on him in some way, shape, or form?
Yeah, I've thought about it a lot, because, if it was a few weeks removed, I'd be feeling worse because, obviously, but it's 5 years removed now, Brian. But yeah, I wish I maybe had stayed in better touch with them and that kind of thing. You're right, I'm pretty busy. I go story to story, and I go at it fairly hard, and it's a lot of water under the bridge since then. But I have thought of this guy over the years and wondered whatever happened to him. I hadn't heard anything, and I guess I was naive to think or maybe look for the best in people. Again, I didn't dislike him.
Yeah.
I felt sorry for him.
Joe, there's time for a final question here, and it's simply this. You know, you hear the cliche that I looked into his eyes and I saw nothing there. He had dead eyes. He has that look on his face. Was there any of that at that time back in 2007?
Yeah, he looked right through me. I was just a vessel for his game. I wrote about that in my column, if anyone wants to read it, in today's Toronto Sun or torontosun.com, about the game Ripper and how the main character was Christopher Walken, whose name was Magnotta. I think, and I'm not a, you've had experts on the show, maybe you can ask some of the, the ones you have on later, but I think he's playing a big game, and I think it's derived from this video game and all the other pop culture movies like American Psycho and Catch Me If You Can and things like that, Dexter, all of it.
Yeah, well, Joe, I don't think you're off base with that at all. I mean, I think I come to the same conclusion as well. Listen, my friend, it's always good to talk to you, and I thank you for taking time out. I know where you are, and it's a good thing you're doing, so you take care of yourself.
You too, Brian. I appreciate that, and I think you're doing a terrific job here, as you always do.
Well, I appreciate that. You take care.
All the best.
Thank you. That's Toronto Sun columnist Joe Warmington and his encounter with the alleged killer, Luka Magnotta, and he joined us live via Skype in Toronto.